My husband's ex-wife is ill, and everyone is blackmailing me to use my daughter's tuition to pay for her surgery. Please, no one's money is a gift from heaven. My daughter plans to study abroad, and my husband Zhou Jiamin and I naturally support her. On this day, I was researching foreign schools with him. My stepson Zhou Xiaochuan called from the hospital and shouted anxiously, "Dad, Mom is very ill and needs 300,000 for surgery. Send it here quickly." My daughter Zhou Xiaozhao snuggled in my arms and said with a smile, "Brother, have you been scammed? Mom is right next to us." Zhou Xiaochuan was a little angry and said, "Stop making trouble. She is my real mother." We suddenly realized that it was my husband's ex-wife who was ill, and 300,000 is not a small amount. Zhou Jiaming looked at me in embarrassment and said to the phone, "Don't worry about the money first. Let's think of a way." Zhou Xiaochuan said arrogantly, "How can I not be anxious? Don't you have money to send my sister abroad to study? Don't you have money to save a life?" He sneered and Zhou Jiaming hurried over. I hurriedly hung up the phone, thinking that the matter would just end like that. I pulled Zhou Xiaozhang and continued to study the school rankings and admission requirements. We had just cooked a few dishes in the evening, and were about to serve them on the table when Zhou Xiaochuan stepped on the accelerator and returned home. He walked in angrily shouting, "Dad, why did you hang up the phone? Give me the money quickly." Zhou Jiaming said embarrassedly, "Where would the family get so much money? Didn't we spend 150,000 on you last year?" Zhou Xiaochuan has been idle since graduation, and he doesn't look serious. Last year we stuffed 150,000 yuan into him, and found a relatively easy job. I invested the rest of the money in production, so the cash flow is really not that much. Zhou Xiaochuan glanced at everyone's sister and said, "Isn't your sister going abroad? I don't believe you, we really have no money." I drank the soup quietly, and I didn't even bother to give him a look. Your sister's academic performance is a lifelong event. Zhou Xiaochuan sat down next to his father and began to play the emotional card. "Dad, that's my mother's life. If anything happens to her, I will never forgive her in my life." "Forgive yourself, just do it for my sake." Zhou Jiaming began to remain silent. His son continued to strike while the iron was hot. "I will move my sister's tuition. My mother is not refusing to pay it back. What's wrong with going abroad a year later? At least save my mother's life." Zhou Jiaming looked at me awkwardly, seemed to be shaken. I put down my chopsticks and said coldly, "Please figure it out. Xiaozhao study abroad money is mine." Zhou Jiaming, "Where your money went, you know it. Yourself." Zhou Jiaming rubbed his hands and said in front of the child, "What are you doing with all this, Xiaozhao? Go to the room to take LTS. I see that my daughter has almost finished eating, so I quickly pushed her away. I don't want her to be involved in these troubles." Zhou Xiaochuan was still clamoring for no reason. "At worst you can sell this house. After Xiaozhao goes abroad, you can't live in such a big house. Change it for a smaller one, and give the extra money to me to save people, and when you are gone, the small house will belong to my sister. I won't argue with her." I laughed out loud and asked Zhou Jiaming, "What do you think of this method?" Zhou Jiaming's face flushed, and he shouted at his son, "Shut up." Zhou Xiaochuan walked out of the house angrily, but still stiffened his neck, looking unyielding. "You were blinded by this woman, are you still a man?" I turned around and went upstairs, leaving Zhou Jiaming alone in a daze. When I married Zhou Jiaming, he had a 3-year-old son. I was a first-time marriage. At first, my parents refused to agree, but they couldn't stand teacher Zhou Jiaming, so they often came to help my mother with housework and play chess with my father. After a while, the two elders also felt that this young man could do everything. In addition, I heard that Zhou Jiaming's ex-wife was a very strange woman. Most of the reasons for their unhappy marriage can be attributed to his ex-wife. My parents felt that Zhou Jiaming was pitiful and reliable, and they immediately agreed to our marriage. Seeing that Zhou Jiaming's house was too small, she gave me this house as a dowry. Although I was a little girl at the time and had no experience in raising children, I tried my best to show kindness to Zhou Xiaochuan. I bought her the latest Ultraman toys and took her to the city zoo to see hippos. I attended all of her parent-teacher meetings. We got along very well during that time, and Zhou Xiaochuan also called me Mom before Mom. Later, my daughter Zhou Xiaozhao was born. I was worried that my son would feel uncomfortable, so I paid more attention to her. Almost everything in the family revolved around her. When Zhou Xiaochuan was about 7 years old, her biological mother Tang Wenyan returned to our city. After separating from Zhou Jiaming, she married to Hong Kong and was very successful for a while. However, that Hong Kong boss was a philanderer. Within a few years, he disliked Tang Wenyan for being a yellow-faced woman and even used the fact that she had given birth to a child to stir up trouble. Tang Wenyan couldn't make it, so she came back. I don't know how Zhou Jiaming discussed the divorce with him. Anyway, from that time on, Tang Wenyan came to pick up the child once a week and stayed for 2 days at a time. It was from then on that Zhou Xiaochuan no longer called me Mom, and was even a little hostile to me. However, I was also happy to have some free time, so I could focus all my energy on my youngest daughter. With 2 children to raise, our financial pressure became intense. Zhou Jiaming worked as an accountant in the factory, and he only had a few fixed salaries every month. I started working in the factory, and later I opened a small shop selling furniture and supplies part-time. The business was also relatively slow, just enough to cover the family expenses. Later I studied online sales with a few sisters and slowly developed it, and our life became more and more affluent. Although I earned more than Zhou Jiaming, his mother still had some opinions about me. First, she felt that my job was not a stable job and I was not worthy of their son. Second, I only gave birth to a little daughter. His mother even said that Zhou Xiaochuan was the legitimate son of their Zhou family. She often secretly took some money from Zhou Jiaming, and then subsidized her grandson. Even when she bought things, she always looked for Zhou Xiaochuan. She only bought single items for sneakers, new clothes and watches, and there was no share for our Xiaozhao. I usually didn't mind it too much and I didn't have much money, so I would ask someone else for help. I went to his place to supply my daughter. Once when she just came, she gave her grandson a new pen. In order to comfort Xiaozhao, I took my daughter to KFC. When I got home at night, my mother-in-law wiped her tears on the sofa and accused me of eating alone with my daughter. She said that if I was always so partial, she would let him raise Zhou Xiaochuan. He couldn't bear to see his grandson being wronged. He cried and asked Zhou Jiaming to quarrel with me, but Zhou Jiaming didn't dare to do so in the end. Slowly, under the instigation of his biological mother and the doting of his grandmother, the relationship between Zhou Xiaochuan and me became worse and worse. I was busy with business and cultivated Zhou Xiaozhao wholeheartedly, so I simply ignored this stepson. Last time, Zhou Xiaochuan asked for surgery fee but failed, so he left and turned back to tell his grandmother. The next day, I was at home with a telephone conference with suppliers, and my mother-in-law came to the door. Jiaming, Jiaming, he shouted everywhere, and caught Zhou Jiaming from the study. He threw himself into Zhou Jiaming's arms and beat his chest. This family is going to be turned upside down. What's wrong with mom? Tell me slowly. Zhou Jiaming has always been a filial son. Seeing his mother so excited, she felt distressed all of a sudden. You guys are eating delicious food at home. Xiaochuan has not eaten for several days on a hunger strike. As she spoke, the mother-in-law's tears fell. I hurried to end the meeting to prevent others from hearing the ghost howling in our family. When the mother-in-law saw me coming down the stairs, her eyes were red and her voice was cold. Gao Xiangnan has a cruel heart. Mom, you must have evidence for everything. What did I do? I walked up to her calmly. I heard about it. It looks like you want to force my grandson to death. The mother-in-law slumped on the sofa, looking like the head of the family. How is it possible? Mom, did you misunderstand? She said with a fake smile. My grandson's mother is about to die of illness. He is filial. He was so angry that he couldn't eat for several days. He asked you to borrow some money but you refused. You are really corrupt. I looked at Zhou Jiaming. He lowered his head and didn't speak. Looking at the old lady's posture, he must get money for his grandson today. That's not possible. Mom, our family really doesn't have that much money. As soon as the voice fell, the old lady was in a hurry to lie to me. What a ghost, isn't Xiaozhao going abroad? What's the point of a little girl reading so many books? A girl's life is worthless, and you still prepare so much money for him. I don't agree. You are going to kill my grandson since he came in. I have been suppressing my anger and maintaining a good temper, but he doesn't know what's good for him, and he even slandered his granddaughter, I said angrily. According to what you said, a woman's life is worthless, then just lie in bed. Why do you still ask your ex-husband to borrow money for treatment? Your mother-in-law was speechless. You are really inhuman. Zhou Jiaming, are you dead? Take care of your wife. Xiao Kun almost fainted. My grandson. Zhou Jiaming began to loosen up. If we don't give him a little, it's not easy for him. His parents divorced when he was so young. You see, he hasn't married yet. I can't let him. He lost his mother at a young age. But what does it have to do with me? It's not me who asked you to divorce. I'm stubborn. My wife is only once. I can't let Xiao Kun go without eating all the time. My body can't eat anymore. Please help me. From now on, I will work like a slave for you. I observed his face, feeling heavy with helplessness in my heart. I sighed and said, okay, I agree that you can pay to help them. I have absolutely no objection. Zhou Jiaming was stunned for a moment, with anger on his face. You know it clearly, just agree. Mother-in-law took out her mobile phone with a smile and called out. I hurried to talk to Xiaochuan. Zhou Jiaming held her hand and stopped her. Mom, I have no money. What do you mean? Where's your money? Mother-in-law's face suddenly changed. Unbelievable. Zhou Jiaming was a little angry. Hasn't my bank card always been in your hands? You know how much money is in it. The old lady turned off the fire and muttered to herself, I'm just keeping it for Xiaochuan. Mother-in-law has been worried that I will treat Zhou Xiaochuan harshly. She cried, made a fuss, and threatened to commit suicide. She took Zhou Jiaming's bank card into her own hands. From then on, mother-in-law and Zhou Xiaochuan squandered money. I didn't know if Zhou Jiaming's monthly salary of more than 10,000 was enough. His son Huahua, Zhou Jiaming, has been at home to help the young, frugal, sometimes even pretending to be pitiful, begging me to give him some living expenses. But over the years, Zhou Jiaming has been good to us mother and daughter, especially he loves Xiao Zhao, so I turned a blind eye to these small amounts of money. Unexpectedly, it gradually cultivated their wolfish ambitions. Mom, how much is left in there? Give me a definite answer. More than 10,000. Last week I paid 6,000 for insurance. For Xiao Kun's car, you two don't care about his life or death. Mother-in-law is not very confident. Smiled. He is an adult. He has his own salary. I glanced at her. Mother-in-law is wearing jewels. It seems that she has also fleeced a lot. Mom, why don't you help to close this urgent? You need money and it's gone. Why are you blaming me? I didn't have much money to begin with. I watched them with interest. Dog bites dog. Zhou Jiaming was pulled out by his mother, saying he wanted to see his son. I made a glass of milk for Xiao Zhao. Looking at my daughter with excellent grades, I had an impulse. Just my daughter is an adult now. If Zhou Jiaming is really too confused about this matter, I don't mind divorcing him. I was about to go to bed when Zhou Jiaming came back. He didn't look very good. I was too lazy to ask him, but he knelt in front of the bed and cried bitterly. Xiangnan, I beg you, do a good deed. I really can't lose Xiaochuan. He is so thin that he is unrecognizable. If Xiaochuan is sick, I am willing to pay. I turned my head away, not wanting to see his cowardly look. Zhou Jiaming said hurriedly, how can you say that? It's unlucky. Jiaming, every penny of our money has been arranged. If you really give it to your ex-wife, Xiao Zhao will not be able to go abroad. Can you bear it? Zhou Jiaming has always loved his daughter very much, but this time he thought about it, raised his head and said to me firmly, I believe Xiao Zhao and will not stand by and watch her die. I will go and talk to him. He will understand. I hurriedly grabbed him. If you dare to disturb Xiao Zhao, I will never let you go. Zhou Jiaming immediately stood up and said with extreme disappointment, Xiangnan, where is your kindness? I feel too it was horrifying. I was a little dazed by his questioning. I have always had a clear conscience towards Zhou Jiaming. I have no objection if he treats his son well. I have no objection if he has not seen any income for more than 10 years. I have been supporting the family silently by myself, and I even paid for his son's job search. When I received such an evaluation, I felt unworthy of myself. After calming down, I slowly said, let's get a divorce. I said, Zhou Jiaming has. I was a little not calm anymore. You said divorce. He stormed out of the door in hatred. Xiao Zhao had been standing at the door. He watched Zhou Jiaming leave, walked in and said to me, Mom, you are too tired. I support you. At that moment, I was completely defeated and cried while hugging my daughter. The divorce between Zhou Jiaming and I was put on the agenda. During the negotiation, my mother-in-law and Zhou Xiaochuan were actually there. I glanced at Zhou Xiaochuan. He was white and fat, and there was no sign of hunger strike. My mother-in-law drooped her eyelids and was still judging me. Xiangnan, I'm not saying anything bad about you, but you are too petty. Just for this little thing, she actually wanted to divorce Jiaming. She was shouting, Gaoyi, when the time comes, my parents will remarry. You must not regret it. By the way, since his biological mother came back from Hong Kong, he has changed to my Aunt Gao. Zhou Jiaming subconsciously explained to me, Xiangnan, when Yendao and I said that even if we have never met, don't think too much. Looking at his cowardly look, I couldn't help laughing. Zhou Jiaming, you don't need to explain to me. You don't have this position. I threw out the divorce agreement in my hand, and the light in his eyes obviously dimmed. It was not difficult for Zhou Jiaming and I to divide the property. The big house we live in was given by my parents. At that time my parents saw that Zhou Jiaming still had a son. They were afraid that there would be disputes in the future, so they made a notarization in advance to prove that the house was for me personally, not the common property of the couple. Zhou Jiaming had a small house before, and it was given to his son to live in, so I didn't care, and there were savings, although all his savings were given to my mother-in-law. But for the sake of efficiency, I didn't plan to have my daughter and my son with him. Very clearly, Zhou Jiaming stared at the divorce agreement several times, and spoke grimly, You mean that each of us gets a house? That's it. Otherwise, I asked him, what about your savings, your online store? They all have to be involved. In the division, he said confidently. I didn't get angry but laughed. If I remember correctly, when you and I got married, your small house still had a loan of 400,000, and your salary card. I can also hold you accountable for transferring property. As for my Taobao store, you must not have forgotten I was still working in the factory at the time, and I used my father's ID card to register the business license. You came prepared. He was a little dejected. If you agree, just sign here. Otherwise, I will slowly calculate the added value of the small house with you. Mother-in-law and Zhou Xiaochuan sat aside in amazement. They thought they could blackmail me today. Now they could only look at each other in annoyance. I took the signed agreement and said to Zhou Xiaochuan provocatively, although divorced, but your father still has no penny. To save people, just go and sell the house. Zhou Xiaochuan is hot-tempered and gets irritated easily. He jumped up immediately. Why is that my house? It's none of my business anyway. I walked over to open the door and made a gesture of invitation, just like please leave my house. Grandma Qian sneered at me as she walked, saying, Good. No one will want a woman with a black heart like you. Zhou Xiaochuan also spat in my yard, saying, You schemed against me in the first year of high school. Be careful of retribution. I replied to him. I am in good health now, I can walk and jump. It seems that I am not the one who suffers retribution. He probably thought of his biological mother lying on the hospital bed, and walked away sullenly. Zhou Jiaming seemed to have a little conscience. Can I see Xiao Zhao? It's a good thing he still remembered that he had a daughter. If not, I have sent her to travel in Europe. I will send your belongings to you when I have time. Zhou Xiaochuan exploded again, saying that he was really shameless. He gave his money to my sister for travel and gave me his life when he had no money. I pushed him out. My money has nothing to do with you anymore. After the divorce, after that, I worked even harder. Without the trivial matters at home, I could focus more. I recruited several big clients and was busy every day. My daughter's IELTS score came out, and his GPA was very high in school. We easily applied to the top 10 universities abroad. I never stopped them from meeting each other. Zhou Jiaming also learned the news. Before leaving, he insisted on inviting Xiao Zhao and me to dinner. We gladly went to the appointment. Halfway through the meal, Zhou Jiaming took out a thin red envelope and handed it to his daughter Xiao Zhao, saying, "You must take care of yourself when you are alone abroad. That is great. I will help you with some living expenses." Xiao Zhao probably knew that Zhou Jiaming was under great pressure in life now, so he declined. "Dad, I have money, you keep it for yourself. My mother just gave me a card with 200,000 yuan in it." Zhou Jiaming's face fell instantly. He gritted his teeth and asked me, "Where do you get so much cash flow? Did you transfer the property at the beginning?" I smiled and said, "After divorcing you, my business is getting better and better. Why not? I just drank 2 glasses of red wine." Zhou Jiaming's eyes were bloodshot. He complained to us a little drunkenly, "You easily gave him 200,000 yuan in pocket money. Do you know that we sold our house for Tang Wenyan's 300,000 yuan surgery fee?" My daughter and I were shocked. From Zhou Jiaming's intermittent narration, we roughly understood the whole picture of the matter. Tang Wenyan had breast cancer and the surgery was imminent. She was a Hong Kong citizen before and did not buy medical insurance here, so the medical expenses had to be paid by herself. 200,000 or 300,000 is a large sum for the Zhou family father and son, but they are kind people. Even if they have no money, they are reluctant to ignore Tang Wenyan. In the end, they discussed and mortgaged the old lady's house. It really made me laugh to death. The old lady originally, she just wanted to live with her son and grandson. I didn't agree before because I was there. Now they promised to take her in, so she signed the agreement immediately. They mortgaged the old house, which was not worth much, and borrowed about 400,000 yuan. The 3 of them and the old lady squeezed into Zhou Jiaming's small house, which was a harmonious scene. However, Tang Wenyan's subsequent chemotherapy and nutrition fees were a large sum of money, and the whole family was not well off. The old lady took out her pension to supplement the family expenses, and she had already started to complain. When the father and son were not at home, she often looked at Tang Wenyan badly. Tang Wenyan was not a big deal. He was a very frugal person. As soon as he saw his son, he started crying to him. Zhou Xiaochuan couldn't bear to see his sick mother being wronged, so he made a scene. "If you hadn't divorced me, how could we live like this?" Zhou Jiaming even had tears in his eyes. I raised my glass. The one in chaos was Xiao Zhao's in my home. How could I be so unlucky to meet your 2 wives? He was still blaming me while drunk. I quickly called the waiter over. "This gentleman pays the bill." I pointed at Zhou Jiaming, and then he seemed to sober up a little, with embarrassment on his face. "Didn't you want to treat us?" I looked at him with a smile. "No rules." He fiercely took out a credit card and handed it to me. "You are still so mean." He did not forget to ridicule me. I didn't care about these sarcasms at all. What's the matter with a few curses? It won't prevent me from making money. I didn't expect that Granny Chen would come to my door. When I returned home that day, I saw her busy in the kitchen. The aunt at home explained to me, "Sorry." The old lady Gao insisted on coming in. I couldn't stop her. I nodded. Aunt Fong went to rest. Granny Chen came out with a pot of food. "Xiangnan, I knew you didn't eat well. What outsiders did? There are people who do it cleanly." I was a little confused looking at his attitude and asked directly, "Excuse me, what's the matter?" He asked me to sit down and then said with a smile, "Let me tell you, Tang Wenyan is dead. Hurry up and remarry Jiaming. He is dead." The old lady said that Tang Wenyan was actually stealing and wanted to secretly mortgage the family's real estate certificate to a loan shark company. Fortunately, he was caught. Zhou Jiaming was furious and almost drove Tang Wenyan out of the house, but Zhou Xiaochuan knelt on the ground and begged for mercy, so he stayed. Tang Wenyan couldn't stand the torture of chemotherapy. I heard that there is a kind of cancer the special medicine costs 1.2 million per injection, but it can cure the disease, so she had evil thoughts. Later, the cancer cells spread and Tang Wenyan did not survive. This month ago, my mother-in-law picked up a piece of dish for me and said earnestly, "Xiangnan, it was Xiaochuan who was ignorant before. Jiaming is still on your side, just give each other a chance." I drank a sip of soup calmly, smiled and said, "But I already have a boyfriend, how is it possible?" The old lady couldn't believe it. "How long have you and Jiaming been separated? You're finding a new man? A year and a half is not a short time. Xiangnan, think about it carefully. How can a man outside be good to Xiao Zhao?" Well, he was impatient. It was Xiao Zhao who introduced him to me, his former teacher. I hit him hard again. The old lady was confused. How could it be possible? There are not many men as good as our Jiaming. Do you know that? Teacher smiled and answered, "The other things don't matter. The main thing is that he has no children." I showed off. The old lady's face changed instantly. What is Xiao Zhao's intention? To separate his own parents. You just look down on Xiao Kun. I also put away my playful smile. Of course I look down on him. Look at what kind of character he has. At the beginning I said I would send him abroad to study. He wanted to do business, get married. If I lose everything I still can't find a job. And you, I don't even think about how I tolerate you. You only want to get my money. In the future, don't even think about finding a wife for Zhou Jiamin. With you and your grandson Zhou Jiamin will be a bachelor for the rest of his life. You are rebelling. How can there be a shrew like you? The old lady got angry and wanted to hit me with her teeth and claws. I was afraid of hurting him, so I dodged to the side, and he fell to the ground. "Okay, you dare to hit me," he shouted. "You have to pay for my medical expenses." I pointed to the surveillance camera in the living room and said, "Stop it. It's all recorded." He stood up and said, "I shouldn't have come to you. Why should I follow you? You have seen Ming's women. Don't regret it when the time comes. I'm going to make you laugh to death. Don't worry, you won't regret it." I didn't expect that there are still people rushing to eat shit. The old lady walked out cursing. I quickly changed the password of the door. And by the way, I called the property management office and strictly prohibited the Zhou family from entering my room. The Zhou family seemed to be well behaved and never disturbed me again. This day was the day Xiao Zhao returned to China. Because I had a meeting, I arranged for my assistant to pick him up early, but no one was picked up. But I received a call from Zhou Jiaming. He started to blame me. "Gao Xiangnan, are you so busy that you don't even care about your daughter? Then I'll help you take care of her." I became alert. What does that mean? It means Xiao Zhao lives with us recently. If you want to see him, come to my house. He hung up the phone. I quickly called Xiao Zhao, but the call was not connected. What on earth is the Zhou family doing? I didn't dare to think too much and drove over quickly. In Zhou Jiaming's small house, Zhou Jiaming, Zhou Xiaochuan and Grandma Qian were waiting for me. But I didn't see Xiao Zhao. I anxiously asked where Xiao Zhao was. Zhou Xiaochuan pulled a chair for me. "Gao, you mother, don't be anxious." Looking at his face, I could only sit down. Zhou Jiaming put on a smile and looked south. "I just want to keep Xiao Zhao for dinner." "Why are you in such a hurry? Where is Xiao Zhao?" I asked unwillingly. Xiao Zhao went to his hometown in the countryside. "Oh, you may not know that place. He came back in a mean way." I finally understood that this family was kidnapping Xiao Zhao. I took a deep breath and asked slowly, "Tell me what you want. Don't say it so harshly." Zhou Jiaming spread out a medical record. "To be honest, if I hadn't been sick, I wouldn't have come to you. Uremia." I picked up the medical record and read it carefully. The name on it was Zhou Jiaming. Zhou Jiaming said, "The doctor said that it would be fine now. It will definitely periodic dialysis will be enough, but a kidney transplant will be needed in the end." "How much is this money?" 800,000, Zhou Jiaming blurted out. "You kidnapped your own daughter for 800,000. I was furious. Zhou Jiaming argued. "I didn't want to kidnap her. I just wanted her to help me get some money from you." But she refused. Zhou Xiaochuan muttered, "Do you think everyone is as kind as me? Even if we are siblings, Xiao Zhao and I are worlds apart." The old lady also muttered, "You little girl without conscience." It turned out that Zhou Jiaming often felt back pain in the past 6 months. It didn't matter if he didn't check it out. Once he checked it out, he would have uremia. The old lady cried several pounds of tears, blaming Tang Wenyan for making him work hard and me for making him upset. He needed a kidney transplant due to uremia. Where did they get the money? Their only savings were used up by Tang Wenyan, and the loan for the old house had not been repaid yet. Zhou Xiaochuan was still the smartest one. He thought about how he had run around to get money for his biological mother. Now that his biological father was sick, Zhou Xiaozhao should also do the same. After a few people discussed it, they pretended to ask Xiao Zhao about the date of his return to China. Xiao Zhao was not prepared to be taken advantage of by them, but after listening to their plan, Xiao Zhao refused to ask me no matter what. "I need money. I have no control over my mother's money. You can discuss it with her yourselves." Xiao Zhao also took out the remaining 50,000 yuan and gave it to her father, saying that this was the living expenses he saved, plus the money from working abroad, to use for Zhou Jiaming's medical treatment first. This 50,000 yuan could not save them from the dire situation. After these people made a plan, they hit Xiao Zhao and brought me here. I had a fierce look on my face, listening to what they said. Zhou Jiaming seemed to be a little angry. Xiao Zhao was too ignorant. She had to make such a big deal. 800,000, right? I will transfer it to you as soon as I see Xiao Zhao. No 1 million, Zhou Xiaochuan suddenly said. 800,000 is not enough, she still needs to take medicine and dialysis. The old lady said with a smile. 1 million to buy the life of a little girl. She is really valuable. I glared at her fiercely. She shut up. Tell me where Xiao Zhao is. We will go pick her up now. I shook the car keys. Zhou Jiamin also wanted to get the money earlier in the old temple on South Street. Let's go. You actually left your daughter alone in the dilapidated temple. Are you still a human being? Zhou Jiamin said nonchalantly. That place on Longshan South Street. No one goes there. It's very safe. Zhou Jiaming and Zhou Xiaochuan followed me to find my daughter. I looked at them and said, take my car. Hurry up. Zhou Xiaochuan looked at them with squinted eyes. You bought a new car again, Mom. You live a very comfortable life, I warned fiercely. Get in the car quickly. Don't talk nonsense. If something happens to your sister, I will never let you go. He shut up and sat in the rear driving seat with his father. I hurried to the old temple on South Street. Zhou Xiaochuan was actually humming a song while watching the scenery. Zhou Jiaming also began to snore after a while. And then the car stalled. I panicked all of a sudden. What happened? Zhou Jiaming woke up from his sleep, stalled the engine. I tried hard to start the engine several times. And the luxury car is like this, not as good as my broken car. Zhou Xiaochuan said sarcastic words. I was so anxious that I almost cried. What should I do? Xiao Zhao will be alone. Will I be afraid that Zhou Xiaochuan will continue to talk nonsense? Afraid that Mao Xian gave him sleeping pills? Probably sleeping. What did you say? I stared at him. She is your biological sister. How dare you? Zhou Jiaming hurriedly tried to smooth things over. It was just a little bit. Nothing would happen. Let's go over there quickly. Let's not quarrel among family members. If anything happens to Xiao Zhao, I will give you the money. I scolded him angrily. Zhou Jiaming avoided my gaze. What could happen? He was so stubborn that he could not be killed. The car finally started. I didn't waste any more time talking to them and hurried forward. When we arrived at Longshan South Street, it was already evening. This place was indeed sparsely populated. I parked the car on the main road and followed the Zhou family father and son into the old temple on foot. The door of the temple was deserted. We looked around and saw no one. It was in the inner room. Xiaochuan carried your sister out. Zhou Xiaochuan walked in at a glance, then rushed out in surprise. I'm gone. What should I do if Xiao Zhang is gone? How can I? Yes, Zhou Jiaming grabbed his head and argued. I didn't listen to his explanation and slapped Zhou Xiaochuan hard. Where is the person? He covered his painful left face and yelled at me. It's useless to hit me. I didn't lose the person. Why don't you look for him quickly? Look around left and right. The Zhou father and son were now at a loss and could only listen to my command. One ran into the inner room and the other ran into the backyard. I walked towards the parking place. I pressed the car key and the car lit up, making a loud noise in this empty place. And then a row of policemen rushed out of the dilapidated temple and surrounded the Zhou father and son. The leading policeman told me that Xiao Zhao had been sent to the hospital by the police. Zhou Xiaochuan seemed to have just recovered and cursed you a bitch for calling the police. The police comrade, it's all a misunderstanding. You see, he is my ex-wife's missing person, and the missing person is my biological daughter. Zhou Jiaming begged desperately, and the policeman next to him held him down. From the moment I went to Zhou's house alone, I called the police. There was a police listening device in my bag. I kept trying and finally found out Xiao Zhao's hiding place. At that moment, the police had already set out for the South Street Old Temple. Zhou Xiaochuan wanted to go with me, but how could I let him drive by himself? Of course I was driving and the engine stalling was also fake in order to deliberately delay some time. To ensure that the police had found Xiao Zhao, I proudly told the two of them, fool around with my actions. Zhou Xiaochuan stared with angry eyes. Then why did you hit me just now? You know where Xiao Zhao is. To make the acting real, he rubbed his right hand. The main reason was to hit you on purpose. Zhou Jiaming burst into tears and even knelt in front of the police. This is just our family affair. Police comrade, don't believe this woman. She's talking nonsense. The police had a blank expression on their faces and took the Zhou father and son into the police car. When he walked past me, he was still begging for mercy. Xiaonan, I was wrong. You see, Xiao Zhao is unharmed. Can this matter be settled privately? I smiled and shook my hands, asking the police to take him away quickly. It was so funny that it was settled privately. Just based on his mother's words of buying the little girl's life for 1 million, I have reason to suspect that they were kidnapping and attempted murder. They will be in jail for life. Of course, my ex-mother-in-law who was waiting at home was also invited by the police to have tea. A family must be in order. In court, they still quarreled and said it's a family matter. And you won't cry until you see the coffin. However, the evidence of the empty room is like ironclad evidence, and the crime of kidnapping is a solid hammer. In the end, Zhou Xiaochuan was sentenced to 7 years as the mastermind, and Zhou Jiaming was sentenced to 5 years. He was so scared that he fainted in court. The old lady was 76 years old and did not directly participate in the kidnapping. Especially after he came over, she actively testified about the criminal facts of the Zhou father and son, so she was exempted from punishment. Unexpectedly, at this moment we completely got rid of the entanglement of the Zhou family. Xiao Zhao just took a mild sleeping pill and was physically fine, But he was completely chilled to his biological father, and was more actively trying to get him together with his mentor. Later, we heard that Zhou Jiaming was very ill, and was released on medical parole. I don't know if he can survive this year. Xiao Zhao was just silent for a moment, and the old lady Tai lives alone. He came to us several times to talk about his relationship with him. Of course he wanted Xiao Zhao, his granddaughter, to take care of him in his old age. Xiao Zhao ignored him and directly asked the security guard to drive them away. The old lady sat at the door of our house crying and making a fuss, saying that she was waiting for Jiaming to be released from prison, and didn't know if I was still alive. In fact, I was thinking if Zhou Jiaming's ex-wife hadn't shown up, and there hadn't been any trouble about the surgery fees, we would still be together, living an ordinary life. As long as it wasn't too excessive, I would have endured it. Then he should have had a kidney transplant, quit his job, and be recuperating in a big house, with a son and a daughter around him, and thought that I would still work hard to make money in his later years to earn his medical expenses. But life was still kind to me and pushed away his wolfish ambitions in advance. The full text is over.